Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar, The Growth of Halal Products in the GCC and Why Certification Matters. I'm your host, Jenny Robin from Global Links Exhibitions, organizers of the 23rd Middle East Organic Natural Products Expo, scheduled to take place from 17th to the 19th of November at the Dubai World Trade Center. The Organic Majlis is the Middle East online community of exporters and importers of all things bio, natural, halal, and organic. This webinar is part of our ongoing effort to promote awareness, understanding, and opportunities within the halal sector, particularly regarding permissible food, beverages, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, and lifestyle products. On the other hand, halal certification ensures these products are free from prohibited ingredients, are processed according to Islamic guidelines, and meet strict hygiene and ethical standards. Economically, the GCC serves as a major hub for halal trade, attracting global exporters who seek access to its lucrative consumer market with ever-growing tourism, hospitality, and food sectors, especially in countries like United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. Halal certification also supports the region's role in global halal economy, ensuring trust, market competitiveness, and alignment with our cultural values. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our very first panelist, Mr. Tomás Guerrero. Tomás is an internationally recognized expert in the global halal economy, serves as a director of Halal Trade and Marketing Center, passionate about the Islamic economy and emerging markets. Tomás has been instrumental in promoting Dubai as a leading hub for halal trade and investment. His work focuses on connecting global businesses to the multi-trillion-dollar halal market, fostering cross-border partnerships and driving innovations across the halal sector. Welcome, Tomás. Our second panelist today is Giuseppe Romano, Senior Buyer at Casinetto. Giuseppe is solely responsible for sourcing the finest Italian halal products, and his expertise span halal charcuterie to serve the needs of UAE's one of the most prestigious restaurants. Giuseppe has been actively working in the United Arab Emirates and the halal sector for 15 years now. Welcome, Giuseppe. Our next panelist is Helene Raudaschl, co-founder and director of Indoguna. Helene is the visionary force behind several premium food ventures across Singapore, United Arab Emirates, and Oman. As the founder of Indoguna Production FZCO, which houses one of UAE's leading halal manufacturing facilities, she has also created acclaimed brands such as Helene Plant-Based, Khan Meat Premium Small Goods, Green Grocer Produce, Masterpiece Asian Convenience Foods, and more. Helene is widely recognized for her unwavering dedication to quality and innovation, winning many awards and accolades in the food industry. Welcome, Helene. With such distinguished panelists, I look forward to a highly engaging session. Lastly, we are truly honored to have attendees joining us from around the world, united by our shared values and interests in the topic of halal. And our team have collated all their ongoing queries to make this webinar session as informative as possible. That brings us to one of the top questions. What are the current opportunities and challenges in the halal market within the MENA region that exporters and new market entrants should consider? Here, I would like to invite Helene to go first.
Right, thank you. My name is Helene, as you mentioned. I think today, dealing with the halal sector of food, me coming from a non-halal background of food distribution, trading, and manufacturing, obviously it was a totally new learning curve. And I think that because of the dynamics of United Arab Emirates as a country in terms of tourism and in terms of the audiences they're attracting, people from all around the world, and obviously the expectations are every day getting higher and higher in terms of what people want to dine, what people want to buy for home, what people expect to consume. It's not just about food, but it's other products they consume on a daily basis. How does product get comply with the halal standards, as you mentioned, from imported products and also from self-manufacturing? So from both sides, we do see challenges, but with challenges, we see also the opportunity as to how we can produce products that is compliant to the halal standards of certifications, but also still have the same authenticity, quality, and output where people actually enjoy the product itself without compromising the original source of the product.
Mhm. Helene, since you are, you work globally across Singapore and you have a based in Oman, what are the challenges that you might have faced when you have come to the new market here?
Well, I
set up
came
as a
already
halal?
20 years ago. So
Oh,
20 years
wow.
ago, the challenges are very different than challenges today. But
Mhm.
obviously, 20 years ago, what we found that when we came here, it's not about being a halal state or how do we have to do business. But I think in general, businesses, transparency and clarity was not very significant and not very apparent. So me coming from Singapore and Hong Kong is a very transparent kind of country to do business. And when I came here 20 years ago, it was a lot about exploration on my own and making lots of mistakes, taking one step further and then maybe 10 steps backwards the next day, and then one step further and then 10 steps backwards. And that was for quite a long time. It was similarly, that was the challenge. Like we were not very clear as to how we should import products, what ingredients were supposedly allowed or not allowed, or what certification you need for each and every ingredient. But some of the products that we do produce here, for example, a small product, maybe let's just say a sausage, it could contain maybe 10 to 12 ingredients, and every ingredient we need to find the halal certified products for it. So that poses lots of challenges because our suppliers are not readily available with those documentation, even though maybe in theory they are a halal certified standard kind of company or with the ingredients they produce, but it is not apparent to them that what they need to be able to export to us. That poses probably the biggest challenge for us.
Great. Thomas, would you like to add your thoughts to the same?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me today. Well, in terms of challenge, the regulation is still a bit, let's say, tricky because, as you probably know, we don't have the same rules, the same halal standards for all the GCC countries. We have different standards as well as different authorities. So from the regulation point of view, let's say there is a fragmentation, and that fragmentation sometimes is becoming a barrier because producers, especially those in the non-Muslim countries, they are not, let's say, able to understand why we have different regulations for the same thing across the GCC countries. So, yeah, regulation remains as a big challenge. We need to harmonize the existing halal standards in order to facilitate halal trade under the same requirements and rules across the entire regions. And then from the, let's say, opportunities point of view, well, we are importing almost everything. The 85% of the F&B products that we are consuming here are coming from abroad. So we have a huge dependency from that point of view. So that's a great window for producers all over the world. Basically, because here, as you can see, we are not able to produce locally enough F&B items to source, let's say, our people. And because of that, we have to import. We have to go abroad to find the producers, right? So if you have the halal certification, you will be able to capitalize on this opportunity. And most of the time, you are competing with producers in other countries, not here, because here you don't have, let's say, sometimes local producers, so you don't have many. So it's not about the competitions with the local producers. It's more about global competition. But if you don't have the halal, let's say, certification, a valid one, you will be not able to, let's say, be part of this amazing and lucrative market.
Thanks, Thomas. Giuseppe, you're on the sourcing side. So what are the challenges you face? And especially you may be dealing with a lot of new companies who are looking to enter the market through whom you will be looking to source products. So what are the challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having invited me, and I think that Helene and Thomas gave like a very like a clear picture about the challenges and you know the opportunities. I would like to give like a point of view, of course, of a buyer, and in a particular way about the situation of European market, because Casinetto is 15 years that is sourcing Italian products, like let's say European and Italian products. And speaking with my supplier, we can clearly see that the Gulf, in a particular way, the two markets where we are operating, that are KSA and UAE, are for suppliers a very big market, and they're like market full of opportunities. This because if we take in consideration the one of the biggest certification body in Italy, we can see that the halal certified company are almost 30. So among these 30, not all of them have a slaughterhouse. This means that, you know, like 5, 6 have like, you know, the full supply chain, and the other buy the products from this company and do the other process, like, you know, the aging and after the final process. This means that, of course, I mean, huge market, almost like 30 Italian players, so it's like rich opportunities, and there are still space for the other to enter in the market. On the other side, these 30 companies means that speaking about halal, of course, I mean, all the, not just the product, but also the raw material has to be 100% certified, and we have to assure the transparency of the raw material. That's why the challenges that especially our niche, like very artisanal premium quality supplier face, is the scarcity of resources. Because of course, I mean, they cannot buy everywhere the meat, but the meat has to be certified. So let's say that there are a lot of opportunities, but on the other side, there are like scarcity of resources and availability of resources in the market. And after another point that also in the past we touched with Mr. Tomás, that also would be interested if we will speak during this panel, is the certification body, because it's also very important to choose the right and appropriate certification body. Not all of them in Italy are let's say, are accredited, are recognized in UAE and in KSA. And from my point of view, in conclusion, the Halal Trade and Marketing Center with the Mr. Tomás helped me a lot, you know, in order to put in contact supplier and with Mr. Tomás, in order to give them like clear information in how to certify the product.
So Halal Trade and Marketing Center happens to be our strategic partners as well. And we are proud of our association. So thank you so much for sharing your experience here. So the MENA halal market offers strong growth potential driven by rising demand and, of course, the Muslim consumer base here. Key opportunities definitely lie in food, pharmaceutical, cosmetic, and halal tourism. Here I could say to our listeners who are looking to enter the market for the first time, that they are able to, if they are able to plan, prepare, position themselves, and will be able to thrive in the ever-evolving GCC market. So that brings us to the second question. How crucial is the halal certification for products entering the MENA market, and what are the key requirements to obtain it? Thomas, would you like to go on first?
Yeah, sure. Well, the halal certification, as you already know, is compulsory, is mandatory for F&B products. But when we look at the F&B products, we have, first of all, some categories where the F&B items are halal by default or by nature. So you don't need the halal certificate for them. We are talking about fruits, vegetables, fish, cereals, legumes, if you export them as a raw material without, let's say, any transformation, you can export them to the GCC countries without the halal certificate. You don't need the halal certification for those, let's say, categories, because the products, the items are halal by default, by nature, as I said. But then
Yes.
you also have other categories, F&B ones, where the products are not halal by nature or by default, and you need the halal certificate. We are talking about meat and processed food items.
Yeah.
When we talk about meat and meat-related products, it's so obvious, no? Because there is a ritual in place. You have to slaughter the illicit animals according to the Islamic rules. So for meat, it's clear. But when we talk, for example, also about processed food items, sometimes companies are not, how to say, understanding the reason why the GCC countries, as well as other Muslim majority countries, are also demanding the halal certificate for those, let's say, categories. We are talking about snacks, we are talking about sweets, we are talking about canned food, we are talking about beverages. So we are talking about processed food. And the reason why the standards are also demanding the halal certification for those, let's say, processed food items is because, first of all, we have to ensure that the raw materials, all the ingredients are halal. As Helene said, if you have a processed food item, you have different ingredients, raw materials, you are mixing them, so you have to be, let's say, safe, and you have to check for that in advance that all these raw materials or ingredients are halal, first of all. And then you also have to, let's say, set up a traceability system for your company in order to avoid cross-contaminations, because maybe, okay, your raw materials are halal, but during the process, something is contaminating let's say, the product. So if we have a contamination, of course, the final product is not halal. So because of that, the standards are also demanding the halal certificate for processed food items. For that reason, for example, in the GCC as a whole, as a region, talking about F&B products, we have two standards, halal ones. We have the 993, the GSO 993 for meat and poultry, and then we have the GSO 255 for processed food items. Then, having said that, then you have, how to say, different ways of implementing the rules. Because, for example, here in the UAE, at the end of the day, the halal certification is only needed for meat and meat, let's say, base products. For the remaining, let's say, processed food items, yeah, the standard is there, but the authorities on the ground at the border, they are not demanding the halal certificate, even when we have, let's say, the rule in place. But if you go to Saudi Arabia or if you go to Qatar, the standard is also there, and they are, let's say, more demanding, and they are also asking for the halal certificate for processed food items. So that's the, let's say, existing legal framework for regulating F&B products today in the GCC countries.
That's great. Thank you so much, Thomas. Giuseppe, would you like to add anything to the certification aspect?
Yeah, about like there was a very interesting point that Thomas touched. Like I can bring an example of like, of course, I mean the halal certification is required. I mean, like in a particular way, like let's say mandatory way for beef ingredients and beef product. But there is like from my from my experience of buyer, also other product where yes, we can import, and I'm speaking about dairy products. We are buying product like Parmigiano Reggiano, like mozzarella di bufala, grana padano. There are products that, like, I mean, you may think that halal certification is not required, but inside this product there is the rennet that is used, and this rennet has like an animal origin in a particular way. It's like from the an enzyme that they use that is from the stomach of the veal. So of course, I mean, for this product, our effort is also like to provide the halal certification in order to avoid that, you know, this animal are like halal certified. And even though there are like other products where, for example, where we can use in dairy rennet that is not from animal origin, but also in this case, the halal certification ensure that there's no cross contamination in a way that customer can be 100% sure of what is buying. On the other side, we have the point, of course, of like the beef ingredients. Just I would like to add like an information from a point of view of a customer, of the buyer, in order to ensure that product is like certified from an external point of view. We have to look at the label. In the label has to be clearly mentioned the logo, let's say the trademark of the certification body, and from our side we have like in order like to the mandatory documents like invoice, packing list, and the certificate of analysis. Also the halal certificate is a certificate where is clearly mentioned the product, the quantity, the batch number, and on top of this there are like also indication about the raw materials, so where the certification body, the certification number, there is the start of the slaughter, the end of the slaughter, and there are information about when, like the date when the product has been processed. So everything is tracked in order to be like the clearest traceability of the product.
Great. Thank you, Giuseppe. Helene, anything in particular you would like to add here?
No, I mean, I think from my perspective as a business is that having certification on everything that we do, especially in our production and importation business, it is very important for the client to know that every product is imported or produced in the halal standard way of producing or way of importing. Actually, in all our businesses in Asia, we have mixture of products. And it's true that if you do have mixture of products, then there's a possibility of contamination, and then you do need to do the step to convince and to prove your clients that there is certainly no contamination. In UAE and the Middle East, in Oman and UAE businesses, we do not import anything that is not halal certified, only purely because we decided when we came here, we want to adhere ourselves to total compliance in terms of halal certified products, whether we import or whether we produce ourselves, just so that we decide our positioning, and that's what we do. Otherwise, back in Asia, obviously, we are as well dealing with products which are not halal certified. But certainly, even now, very ironically as well, like I came from Asia, now we are actually strongly exporting back our halal certified products from UAE back to Asia. Because in Asia, the halal certification is not that strong in terms of the standing. They do appreciate that a halal certified product out of a UAE plant going back to Asia has a much more convincing certification for them. And so we are servicing many clients back in Asia now with our halal certified products produced in Asia, produced by people from Hong Kong and Singapore, and actually going back to Singapore and Hong Kong today. There's a halal certified product from UAE, and actually it's a very creditable certification. So actually it's been many years in working to develop that ESMA. Actually now it's called MOFIA, that it is creditable to these authorities, and that when they now see this, they will take this into serious consideration. Actually, to be honest, it took me 6 to 7 years now to lobby the fact that ESMA and now MOFIA is a certified Islamic body, Islamic authority for Singapore, for example. And we just got the certification approved and recognized about 9 months ago, and it's with the help of the UAE ambassador as well, based in Singapore.
Great, great. So halal certification is just not the need for the MENA or GCC countries. So there is a growing demand for the certification across the globe, as you can hear from what Helene has just said. So securing certification not only builds consumer trust, but also enhances one's market access and competitiveness. That brings us to the next question. What are the specific labeling requirements for halal products in MENA countries, and how exporters ensure compliance across various jurisdictions? Giuseppe, would you like to take this question first?
Yes, of course. I mean, as I said before, the legal requirements is like is double. That is like we have to ensure when we are buying products that the company is certified halal. So usually my approach is to direct contact the certification body accredited and ask information about the company that are registered in a way that for me it's easier to source. Of course, I mean, we also as a Casinetto we have company that they don't have like the certification, but they would like to approach this certification. But in general, I mean, like I scout among the company that are already certified. So in this case, we ask like a document that is halal, the halal certificate. This is a document that every time has to be issued for each order. And also, I mean, every time like there is like a standard of label. The label has to indicate the product, of course the weight, country of origin, production, and expiring. There should be the barcode, but what identify as halal is the trademark. It has to be clearly visible in the label, and has to be of course, I mean, the trademark of like a recognized and accredited certification body in UAE KSA. So as we can see, the process for now is very easy. Nothing complicated. It's just a matter to have like the right document.
Great. Thomas, would you like to expand on it?
Sure. Well, already Giuseppe gave us a very good overview, but going into the details, at the end of the day, producers must get a valid halal certificate. That's the, let's say, most important point. So for that, basically, they have to check if the certifiers have or not the accreditations / recognitions from the Muslim majority countries. Because if you get, let's say, a halal certification from a low profile or random certifier, one without, the accreditations, you will be not able to export and you will face problems exporting if you try it. So this is a critical aspect when you want to, let's say, target the halal market. You have to double check, you have to be safe, you have to choose the right certifier, the right partner for providing you with the halal certificate. So at the end of the day, it's about checking the accreditations, checking the approvals or recognitions for the existing halal certifiers. There are private companies and there are many certifiers. You have more than 400 halal certification bodies across the world, but not many, and that's the issue, not many having today all or almost all the halal accreditations from the Muslim countries. That means that it's not easy to find and get a global solution for halal, because companies, they want to have in place a halal certification helping them to market their products in the 57 Muslim majority countries at the same time, if possible, and without any, let's say, barrier or limitation. But for that, you need to get in advance a halal certificate from a certifier accredited by all the Muslim countries. The information sometimes is not there. For that reason, here at the Halal Trade and Marketing Center, we are guiding the producers through the halal compliance process and helping them, among other things, to identify the right certifiers. We are giving them different choices, but those already, let's say, accredited, those valid for being able to export to all the Muslim countries if possible, or at least to a big group of Muslim majority countries. So this point, again, is very important, and we met many producers facing, unfortunately, problems because of this question, because some of them they got the certification from certifiers without the accreditation. So they found, let's say, the problem when they were exporting or the containers were reaching the target country or destination. So it was a big issue for them. So before getting the halal certificate, it's always good to double check and be, let's say, safe. You have to, again, see if the certifier is accredited or not by the countries where you want to market your halal products, because you have many options. If you check on internet, you have many options, but as I said, not many having the accreditations, those needed for being able to issue valid halal certificate for the producer. So that's another, thing to take into consideration before starting your operations.
Helene, would you like to add something? You have launched many brands, and you're working in two large countries in the region, United Arab Emirates and Oman. So any specific things that you would like to add?
No,
about
I mean,
the labeling?
certainly what Tomás just mentioned, rightfully said that, like, even our plant is fully halal certified. Every product that we produce is halal certified, registered, and all that. With the product goes across the border to Oman, to Saudi Arabia, to Kuwait, to any countries. The receiving country is on its own, has their own jurisdiction, their own regulations, their own labeling requirements, and their own requirements for any certification that needs to go to that country. So indeed, it is all about, finding out what, you can't take for granted that what is approved here, for example, will be automatically approved in other countries as a halal certified product. So I just mentioned early on, it took me 6-7 years to lobby that our halal certified products is adhering to all the strictest halal compliance standards to Singapore. And I came from Singapore. And so it took me a long time to get that as well certified and approved. So indeed, it's not replicatable for halal certification across internationally. I could say this. Every country demands different things, and certainly it's for the business and for the companies to find out what is necessary. And even if you do find out, it is also being able to consistently be updated constantly with seminars, with conferences, because from this month it's like this, maybe next month they change the rules and or updated the rules or whatever, and it's just not it's not just how do you say one
Standardized
thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Great.
So we learned it from experience, and lots of learning experiences, and
just to sum it up, so to our listeners, exporters must familiarize themselves with each country's specific standards, and like Tomás mentioned, work closely with accredited bodies to ensure the labels meet all legal and cultural expectations. So that brings us to the next question. Which are the specific approved halal registration bodies in MENA market, and where can exporters access an updated list of these bodies? So Tomás from Halal Trade and Marketing is the expert here. Tomás, would you be able to guide our exporters who are listening where they can find this information?
Well, first of all, let me tell you that sometimes, as I said before, the information is not available. And that's a challenge. Or you only have, let's say, Arabic, information. So sometimes it's not easy, to find the information to get the halal certificate. So, well, here in the GCC, as Helene said, we have different countries, different jurisdictions, different authorities, different standards. So let me explain to you, how this is working for the main markets here. So, for example, here in the United Arab Emirates, we have, from the standardization point of view, MOIAT. MOIAT is the Ministry of Industry and Advanced Technology. So they are the ones in charge of elaborating the halal rules for the UAE, the halal standards for the applicable ones here in the United Arab Emirates. So we have MOIAT, and then from the accreditation point of view, we have EIAC here in Dubai, and we also have INAS in Abu Dhabi. So we have two halal accreditation bodies, the Emirates International Accreditation Center here in Dubai and the Emirates National Accreditation System in Abu Dhabi. Both are federal entities, and both are, at the end of the day, doing the same. They are the ones providing the certifiers inside the UAE, but also abroad, with the accreditation, the halal one, for being able to issue valid halal certificates for the United Arab Emirates. So we have also these two bodies. So then, if you are a producer and you want to export to the UAE, you have to get a halal certificate from a certifier accredited by EIAC or INAS, according to the MOIAT standards, the UAE halal standards. That's the, let's say, legal framework here. Then, if you go to Saudi Arabia, you have a different, let's say, system or model in place. In Saudi Arabia, first of all, you have SASO. SASO is the Saudi Standardization Organization. But at the same time, you also have GSO, the GCC Standardization Organization. So let's say you have Saudi halal standards and regional halal rules or standards. Saudi is following the regional ones, because at the end of the day, the regional ones were a copy-paste from the SASO ones. For that reason, they are following the regional ones today. So the GSO 993 and the GSO 255. So from the standardization point of view, we have, let's say, SASO plus GSO. And then we have SFDA. We have the Saudi Food and Drug Authority. So the SFDA is, let's say, the body in Saudi Arabia in charge of approving the certifiers looking for issuing valid halal certificates for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So again, if you are a company, if you are a producer and you want to export to Saudi Arabia halal products, you have to get the halal certificate from a certifier approved by the SFDA. And if you want to export at the same time to Saudi Arabia and the UAE, it must be approved by the SFDA and at the same time accredited by EIAC or INAS here, okay? And registered with MOIAT locally. So that's the, let's say, framework there in Saudi Arabia. And then, for example, in Qatar, they have a different approach. Basically, through the Ministry of Public Health, they are approving the halal certifiers. They are, let's say, asking them to have the GCC Accreditation Center accreditation. And at the same time, they are also asking them for having another halal accreditation from the Southeast Asia, from Malaysia, Indonesia, or Singapore. So again, if you want to export to Qatar, you have to get the certification from a certifier approved by the Ministry of Public Health. Okay, so the certifiers approved by the Ministry of Public Health in Qatar, they are accredited by the GCC Accreditation Center for the GCC region, and at the same time, they have at least one accreditation, halal one from the Southeast Asia, because they have, let's say, this particular demand or requirement for the certifiers. They are asking for two accreditations, one from the GCC, another one from the Southeast Asia. So as you can see, we have different approaches or ways of approving / accrediting or / recognizing the certifier. So again, as a producer, as a company, you have to check this and get a certificate, a halal one from a certifier accredited by EIAC or INAS here in the UAE, approved by the Ministry of Public Health in Qatar, and at the same time also approved by the SFDA in Saudi Arabia. In order to have, let's say, these three markets under control.
Yeah. Thomas, you've covered the major share, by talking about the different jurisdictions and what are the, anticipated organizations where they can get this information from. So Halal Trade and Marketing is our strategic partner, and Thomas and team will be present at our annual event, Organic and Natural Products Expo, which is scheduled to take place from 17th to the 19th of November this year at the Dubai World Trade Center. So just drop in to meet them in person and to know more. The next question coming in is which product categories commonly fall into halal, and are there any non-conventional categories gaining traction that exporters should be aware of? Giuseppe, would you like to go first?
Yes, so in our case, dealing about food, I think it's quite easy. I know that there are like a lot of non-conventional categories. I was reading that also living in Dubai that now for finance, logistic can fall into halal, even tourism. In our case, we are dealing about food. So about food, as we already touched before. The halal certification is mandatory for like beef ingredients and beef-based products. This doesn't mean that in other products the certification is not required, because I think that by the experience in Casinetto, that is like a plus, a very great plus in approaching the customer if all category that fall into dairy, but also about beverage is like or about sweet snacks is certified. This because again it's also if some product are not there's no like let's say an haram component in the product, the certification ensure the traceability and there's no cross contamination with any haram ingredients or product into the halal product. Just like from another point of view from the field, we had cases of suppliers that they didn't have the halal certification. I mean, like we always suggest them to put in contact with halal trade center in order not to get sure before approaching the certification. And I have to also to say that for example in Italian market there is a very great job of the certification body that help the company to arrive from point zero through the certification, suggesting and giving like a service of consultancy about the documentation and also in how to organize the production facility in order to arrive to the point of the certification.
Helene, would you like to add to it? Any conventional categories that are gaining traction?
Not particularly, no.
Okay.
We've been dealing with the conventional category like all this while. It's the same, and And every time we have a new product, in any case, we have to check through all the documentations required. So that's normally the process. Yeah.
Also, I see that you deal a lot with plant-based meat and so on. So they also require halal certification?
Actually, we do. We get every ingredient with the halal certification or halal declaration, what they call it, for non significant, not apparent product that needs to be halal certified. The reason behind that is because every ingredient we buy, there is a possibility the environment or accessories around the production of that certain ingredient does not comply to the halal standard. That is a possibility. So in my 20 years of being in Dubai, I found, for example, one of the most surprising experience I had is sunflower oil does not comply to the halal compliance from one factory that we were sourcing from, and as well sugar. It's not all sugar is as well halal certified that you would think, like coming from not with a Muslim background, you would think sugar is sugar. But actually, it's not true. Sugar as well have a halal certified sugar and one that is not because of how they process the sugar using certain ingredients or the mechanical process does have something which are not compliant, for example. So we did find a lot. And if I retire one day, maybe I could write a book about things to be aware of, because it is indeed very intriguing and sometimes take you totally by surprise.
I don't see you retiring anytime soon. You have lots to do. You have to be at a show in November.
Maybe after that, yeah.
Thomas, would you like to add anything specific?
Well, in terms of, let's say, booming categories, non-conventional ones, saying that non-alcoholic beverages are gaining, momentum.
Yes.
There is a boom. You can find some even fully dedicated importers and distributors, even e-commerce platforms such as Drink Dry for this, let's say, particular category. So I think this is a good niche now to do business. I was thinking also about dairy alternatives, products. Of course, organic, natural, keto, healthy, plant-based, all those are also, growing. So I think, again, the halal certificate will help you also maybe to find new channels or windows in the GCC to do business, because sometimes when we talk about halal, we are always thinking about meat, about
Yes.
the mixed sector at the end of the day, but we are not considering all the categories or the products where innovation is also there, and they are, how to say, also trendy. And the halal certificate maybe is mandatory, maybe not, but it's helping you to marketing your product, because sometimes the certificate is working as a branding or marketing tool. I saw this. I met many companies selling halal certified products where when basically they don't need, So they told me, no, Tomás, it's about generating trust. It's about differentiating ourselves from our competitors. It's about having a different, way of introducing our products. It's not only about, meeting the requirements and following, let's say, the Islamic law, only. So it's also about, using this particular certificate as, as a marketing tool, thinking out of the box sometimes, because it will help you also to as I said, to find new opportunities for your product, even when they are, let's say, halal by default.
Thomas, it's quite interesting, like you mentioned, the categories that are gaining momentum are like non-alcoholic beverages. Yes, there is a tremendous growth in that sector in the region across the GCC. And as show organizers, also this year we are focusing especially on this particular sector at our event. And we are seeing a lot of exhibitors coming in from Latvia, from Georgia, from Italy for that matter, who are going to be bringing non-alcoholic beverages to the show. In short, exporters should be aware of these emerging sectors, and the consumer demand broadens beyond traditional food items, presenting new market opportunities. And to succeed in the region, one requires to follow strict compliance, innovation, and solid local partnerships. And that brings us to the next question. How can digital marketing and e-commerce channels be leveraged to reach halal conscious consumers in the region? Helene, would you like to go first?
I think regardless whether it's halal certified products or not today, I think e-commerce and digital commerce or anything have to do with social media is crucial in continuously promoting your products more efficiently. I mean, regardless what is the product, this is now the channel of promotion, channel of voice, and it certainly travels a lot faster than the conventional way of not doing e-commerce or not doing anything digitally. It is the way of telling people or announcing the products, what is available, what is new, what is innovative, what is about you, what is about the products, what is the unique selling point. Is actually today the channel is about e-commerce and about digitally being available to tell your customers and tell your consumers what's available. So there's no going back. It is the channel.
Great, great. Giuseppe, how much do you source from these e-commerce portals?
Yeah, so about this topic, I can bring like the example of the of Casinetto. So we have an e-commerce, and our mission is to introduce, to present, to educate like the European consumer to halal products. In a way, for example, a way to boost is try to mix the Italian products with the Islamic culture. For example, like we organize campaign during Ramadan, during Eid, where we try, to promote our product, but introducing this product like to Muslim and also to European. I think that a way is to show also like to European that halal doesn't mean just no alcohol, no pork. Halal is more. It's like a higher standard of hygiene, higher standard of quality, and it's like it means like to minimize and respect the animal. And of course, I mean digital marketing or like social media like Instagram can play a good role, in educating, especially in our case, the European consumer that again has a lot of myths regarding the halal. So yes, this is like in this case our mission. Another important thing that from the case of Casinetto we are trying to do is like to continuously putting effort in the transparency. So in our e-commerce, you will clearly see the distinction among what is halal, what is not halal, in a way, to feel the consumer 100% comfortable in the choosing of the products.
Indeed, indeed. So digital marketing and e-commerce are definitely powerful tools to reach the halal conscious consumers in the MENA region. And as organizers, part of our profile, we also have Arabian Organics, which is an e-commerce portal where we give complimentary access to all our exhibitors for almost a year. And at the back end, we have more than 35,000 registered buyers. So they are, and we see on a daily basis how buyers reach us or directly to our exhibitors to source these products. Now, a quick one. Any myths about halal products that you would like to bust? Thomas, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. I will say that it's not so expensive. Sometimes producers thinking that getting the halal certification is very expensive. At the end of the day, it's not so expensive. And then also, let's say that it's not so complex. If you find the right certifier, a valid one, let's say going through the audit, going through the certification or compliance process is not, let's say, so complex for, for the companies. Sometimes also because they are not aware or this is something, let's say, new or almost new for them, and they don't know. They think, okay, getting the halal certificate sounds like very tough, no, something hard to obtain. But when you start the process, see the steps and the requirements, and you see that it's like getting another quality certification, many times or most of the time. So this is these two can be two, let's say, myths about the halal certification.
Great. Helene, would you like to add something to it?
Yeah. Well, me personally, I'm extremely excited what halal food products could come about, because when I came here, I vividly recall why we opened our own manufacturing plant and started designing products for ourselves, because coming from Asia, we saw a lot of great ingredients. But coming here at that time was quite an eye-opening experience, and knowing that all the high level or high quality restaurants and hotels are using products that we know could be done a lot better. And we've done the design since more than 10 years, and we're continuously driving innovation with a fully halal certified compliant product. And so we're very excited about what's about to come, and still fully compliant to the halal certifications of all the ingredients that we use. So yeah, certainly, like you mentioned, that we'll be in November in the show, and I'm looking forward to see all the producers around us as well, what they could provide, because certainly it is a very, 20 years went by like just with a flip of a finger, but it is indeed 20 years since I came the first time and started Indoguna at that time. And realizing now today, look at the restaurants, look at the hotels, look at the food standards, some of the restaurants and some of the products that they're producing is just amazing, and even much better than the non-halal certified counterparts. So I'm very excited about that, and also seeing what products could be available in the coming years to come. Yeah.
Thank you, Helene, for highlighting the diverse market and potential, and also the universal benefits of halal certification. Now, that brings us to the final question. Your final thoughts, Giuseppe, would you like to go first?
Yeah, so as a way to conclude, I have to say that yes, I hope that through our efforts of like the operators in the market and certification body, we can show and educate like our consumers that halal is just not regarding the what is the in which the category a product falls, but is like a standard, is like a way to operate and work about the products, and this ensure higher quality of the product and also food safety. So I really hope that this program help to take off like this false myths, like that halal is just something dedicated to Muslim. No, it's something that is dedicated to everyone and also help everyone to eat better. I hope that also we can educate that halal doesn't mean that is like a more expensive products, and also about the quality. Halal doesn't mean that is a different quality compared to other products. I would be at the end also like of this experience, also in Casinetto, I would like very happy, to also contribute to convince other that eat halal means actually eat better and in a safer way.
Oh, that's really nicely put. Helene, would you like to add something? Your final thoughts?
No, I did. I'm excited of what's gonna come and seeing, being here, and actually so much innovation, so much things we can do, and just looking so much forward to it. Yes.
Great. Tomás, how about your final thoughts?
He has to invite everyone to attend the exhibition in November, the organic and natural, because we will be there and we will be more than happy to continue the conversation and help them with all their halal related needs. So that's all. I think this initiative is great and targeting a very important topic. So happy to see you all in November here in Dubai at the Natural and Organic Expo.
And that brings us to the very end of the Halal Sector Masterclass. A heartfelt thanks to our expert panelists for sharing their valuable insights, and to our engaged audience for being a part of this important dialogue. We hope these discussions have provided valuable perspectives on the opportunities, challenges, and future trends in this dynamic market. As the global halal economy continues to grow, collaboration and innovation remain the key to unlocking its full potential. We encourage you to keep the conversation going and to join us in person at the 23rd Middle East Organic and Natural Products Expo, taking place from 17th to the 19th of November at the Dubai World Trade Center. To know more about the event, or if you have any queries pertaining to today's masterclass, write to us at info@organicandnatural.com. We, the organizers, will be happy to assist you. Thank you all and have a lovely day ahead. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.